I got this piece of angle iron here in the supply closet, and it's overkill, but if I drill a hole in this, I run that rod through there, it's got a lot of beef. It would take forever for me to wear it out. You know, I don't want to cut this rod, so the thicker the better. So this is overkill, so I'm just going to slice off, I don't know, probably 1.5 inches of this, maybe a little less, just enough for the rod to go through. And I'll shorten the one tab, and then once I cut this, I gotta just shorten it, drill 2 holes, clean it up, and then I got a nice big heavy tab for this to go through and to support it. So I know it's overkill, but I think it'll, I think I'd rather be too thick than too thin. My other option would be to weld a bushing onto a tab, but I don't know. I think this would be the way to do it. So. Okay, here's the bracket I made. It's a big old hunk of angle, a little overkill, but this rod slides through there nice. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, so now that that's on the rod, all I gotta do is just put a bolt through this through the side tractor and it'll support the bottom. Now I just need that link welded on there. So let's do that next. Okay, here we are. I didn't tell you this, but I put this little washer on here because somewhere down here I have to put the foot throttle below this bracket. And I don't know how I'm gonna do that, but I don't have access back to that again. So just for the sake of, I don't know, I put a washer in there just because I feel like I'm gonna need it. But here's this will be hooked to the hand throttle to my right. And then when the foot throttle actuates this, it'll, so looks pretty good, turned out good. So next thing we gotta do is put this back in the tractor and bolt, find exactly where this piece has to go. I'll go throw it in the, it's hotter than ever. I'm gonna go throw it in the water bucket quick and cool it down. Here's those 2 pieces of chain link that I made. Right now it's at an idle. If I run the hand throttle up, it still pulls on the linkage like it's supposed to. There's full throttle. And then let's say we got it, I don't know, quarter throttle here. And if I reach down and just push the foot throttle, and it's spring loaded. It's working good. You see those 2 links slide past each other there? That's wham 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 wham. You guys might think I'm stupid. I'm sure a lot of people do. But I have no idea how much throw should be on a throttle paddle. So I have my phone set up there with the camera recording. And I got my speed square here, which has inches on the side. So I'm just gonna, that right there feels about all the way up. My foot doesn't hit the floor. So I would say full throttle, right about there somewhere should be, idle. Wampum, 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 wampum. Let's go see what the phone says that was. This is a project truck I'm working on. We'll get a video of that someday, but I don't want to get into it right now. Let's see how far this gas pedal moves. I'm at basically just a squeak over 5.5. 3 3/4. We'll say 5 3/4, 3 3/4. That throttle pedal moves about 2 inches. I got a couple more gas pedals around here. Let's go check them. Hiding back here in the dark is my new Holland 545D. Make sure this is at an idle. It's at an idle. That's at 3 inches. Full throttle, 1 inch. 3 inch, 1 inch. So the end of this pedal moves exactly 2 inches. That's exactly like that first pickup truck I checked. It's my Romance's work truck. Hope you guys don't mind the buzzer. The key's in it. The key's always in it. Probably shouldn't have advertised that. Alright, everybody forget I said that. I think I put my foot right here. I don't know if I've ever had this thing full throttle. 3.5. Oh man, that goes a long ways. That goes down to a half. 3.5 to it, but that's at the end of it. What about, like, your foot would probably be here in the middle, right? 3.5, 1.5, 3.5. So right here in the middle of the pedal moves about 2 inches. Just like those last two. So far, all 3 gas pedals I've measured have gone 3 inches. Keys are not in this one. So far this gas pedal moves. I would bet this one's identical to the work truck, because the work truck and this truck are literally the exact same gear. Just one's a 1 ton, the other one's a 3/4 ton. Yeah, 3.5. This is probably gonna go to 1.5. Yep, 3.5, 1.5. So that gas pedal also moves 2 inches. Looks like I gotta have 2 inches of throw in my throttle pedal here on the deck. Which works out good, because if I remember right, my marks up here were about 2 inches, right? Come on. Well, they were 1.5 inches. So even if I had 1.5 inches even if I had 1.5 inches, that's still pretty close. So I want the, what am I trying to say? The end of the pedal that's under my toes needs to go further than the end that's than what's on the rod. So I need to have my hinge point not quite in the middle. It needs to be a little bit closer to the rod. So my next step, oh, I forgot to tell you, I did drill this hole and I put a bolt in it. It actually works really good. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. Hand throttle. Right there's probably 1500, and then right here is foot throttle. Oh, it unhooked. Gotta remember to put cotter pins in that before we get done. My next mission, I need to find a foot throttle. There's a tractor down at Romance's exactly like my 545. The cab is not on it. The cab sits on the ground next to it in the weeds. It's our parts tractor. Don't know anything about it. It's been there longer than I have. I wonder if there's a foot throttle in there, because that's got a little rubber thingy on it and everything. Or I could run around here try to find something, but that's my next move. I gotta find me a foot throttle. It's about 6:30 or 7 o'clock. think I'm gonna go find some breakfast. So, okay, stand by. I gotta go do some hunting for a foot throttle. Okay, so it's a couple hours later, and I was walking around my shop looking for something to use as a throttle pedal. I was looking for anything. I was looking at just using some round stock and just putting a little loop on the end. I was looking at flat metal and, you know, doing whatever. I even looked at this thing. It's got this little handle thing that's off of a jack of some kind. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of neat to put your foot on something swiveled, but look how short it is. Looked all over the place. The only thing I found, I was going through my drawer looking for a wrench for something, and this old rotted wrench was in there. And I threw it back in the drawer. I was like, psh, that ain't what I need. But then I got looking at it. I was like, you know what? That kind of does look like a foot throttle. So I said, you know, like, what if we, you know, what if I hinged it like right here and just put my toes on that open end? So I was like, that thing there would actually make a pretty decent foot throttle. A little heavy, but it's going to be balanced because, you know, if you just hinge it in the middle, it'll be pretty balanced. So like, yeah, I'm going to use this, but this thing's been welded together there. This was apparently a tool that got cut and then not cut. So I don't know. So I threw it back in the drawer. I was looking around. I don't know. I kept going back to that wrench idea. I got all these other wrenches in my drawer here, but these are all metric wrenches I bought as a set. I'm not excited about using them. So I went down to Tractor Supply to get inspired. And I don't know, I kept going back to the wrenches. So might be a waste of a good job smart wrench. This thing is no doubt made in China. But I think that's gonna be my foot throttle. So we're gonna hack this thing off, and let's hack this off and turn this thing into a throttle pedal. We'll put this box end wrench here as the wampum end. And I'll just do, I think I'll just cut this off and just put a groove in here, make a fork out of this end, and we'll just slide it over that rod. It'll just lift up on that washer, and I just gotta find a way to hinge it. So I think we're gonna use this wrench. Wasn't that expensive at Tractor Supply. It was less than 20 bucks. Plus I had a gift card. I got a gift card from my wife's parents for my birthday. So this wrench didn't cost me a thing. I've been carrying it around for a few months. I have a hard time spending gift cards because I forget or whatever, but I finally spent $19 and some change on a wrench. So I'm going to use an 1.5-inch wrench for a foot throttle. So let's cut it off. I got to go mark it. Let's cut it off and put a little bit of a fork in the end. Then we got to put a hole. In the back of that steering column, just big enough for this to slide through. I think the hinge is going to have to be towards my toes of the, because that rod is right close to that. So I think this is going to be almost balanced. I need the foot throttle end, the end that your toe sits on, to move a 1/2 inch more than the other end. So I think I'm going to hinge it. I'm going to have to push the hinge towards that rod by, I don't know, I'll have to just play around with it to get it right, but let's cut this off, make a fork, we gotta cut a hole, and then we gotta build a hinge. So let's work on that.